Hello and welcome to Recreate, live from the University of Bradford. I'm Hannah Ward and joining me in the studio today is Pakiza Sahor, Programme and Community Coordinator for the Bradford 2025 City of Culture bid.
Hello.
Like many places in the UK, Bradford has unused spaces in the city that are waiting for the next big thing to happen. So if you were given one of those spaces, what would you do with it? How would it contribute and benefit society as well as the culture and economy of Bradford? And could you make it responsible, sustainable and innovative business? Can't say that word today. In today's session, we'll be launching a competition to create a sustainable business model that recreates unused spaces in our city.
So we've identified 3 different unused spaces in Bradford that are ripe for development, and we want you to create a plan on how you will make one of them the next big thing to happen in the city. I'm really pleased that Will Richardson from PricewaterhouseCoopers is here to tell us more. Over to you, Will.
Hopefully I've unmuted myself and have passed the first test of the afternoon. Good afternoon and thank you for passing over. As just mentioned, I'm Will Richardson. I'm a senior partner at PwC. I'm very proud to say that I was the key driving force behind PwC opening an office in Bradford in 2019, where we now employ 179 colleagues already, with plans for continued growth, building our team to almost 250 by the end of this year. I feel very strongly about helping Bradford to fulfill its potential, creating opportunities for everyone. And I've had the privilege to help promote the city, its strength and opportunities at events both in the UK and abroad. And I'm delighted to have this opportunity to help launch this fantastic Recreate competition as part of the university's UNIfy festival, and in the next few minutes, giving a bit of a business perspective to this. Just in case you don't know, PwC is one of the largest professional services firms in the world. We have a global team of 284,000 based in 155 countries, with total revenues of almost $50 billion. So bringing the PwC name to Bradford has been received incredibly well, and as I say, something I was very proud to help with. And like so many of my colleagues at PwC, I'm involved in various activities in our communities. One of these for me is the Bradford Opportunity Area. It's a flagship initiative which seeks to help improve social mobility, and I'm proud to sit on the partnership board for the Opportunity Area alongside key stakeholders from across the city, including Shirley Condon, the university's Vice-Chancellor. Through this involvement over the past few years, I've become increasingly aware of the strengths and opportunities that Bradford has to offer. In fact, and to be honest, in too many respects, Bradford is a hidden gem of a city. And just by way of a few facts, Bradford is the 6th largest city in the UK. It's also the youngest city in the UK. It's the youngest city in Europe. A quarter of Bradford's over 500,000 population is aged under 16 years. Bradford's a fantastically richly diverse city with well over 100 different languages spoken. Bradford was named by Barclays as the place in the UK, the best place in the UK, to start a business due to its combination of strong growth factors. Across the Northern powerhouse, it's Bradford's businesses which have the highest productivity levels, and Bradford is already a major centre for various industries such as manufacturing, chemicals, digital, financial services, and so on. So in short, it quickly becomes clear why Bradford is a great place to work, to live, and to invest. So when I heard that we at PwC were considering the possibility of opening a new assurance centre, which to be honest, we could have opened anywhere in the world, it struck me that for these and so many other reasons, Bradford was the obvious location. As I mentioned earlier, our office to date has been a great success and has helped to create real interest in others seeking to potentially invest in the region too. So looking forward, it's a great city to be part of with such a bright future. I guess it's fair to say though, and this brings us on to the competition, that despite of these trends, Bradford has had its challenges. You know, it used to be the wool capital of the world, one of the richest cities in Europe. But for a number of years, Bradford experienced weak jobs growth, low skills, and a legacy of underinvestment. Poor connectivity too has to some extent held the city back and the economic growth back. You know, Bradford is the largest city in the UK not to be on a mainline rail network, but this is changing, and this is why I think Bradford now and its future is so positive. Bradford has an economic plan which targets billions of pounds of economic growth over the coming years and thousands of new jobs. Not too long before the pandemic hit last year, we celebrated the first anniversary of this economic vision, during which real progress and achievements have been made in creating new jobs and growth. In 2015, the only major shopping centre to open in the UK was opened in Bradford, the Westfield Broadway, 260,000 square feet, £250 million investment. The multi-award-winning Bradford City Park provides a great focal point for events in Bradford. Recruiting top talent is at the top of many companies' wish lists, and in Bradford, there's massive potential as a city with the youngest population, the fantastic university, and a universal and entrepreneurial spirit, with significant investment being made across all aspects of Bradford's skill system to continue to improve the talent pool as well. And transport and infrastructure is being invested in and improved. As part of this, we're seeing great momentum building for Bradford to finally be connected on a mainline rail network as part of the Northern Powerhouse Rail. This will provide travel times of just 7 minutes to Leeds and 20 minutes to Manchester, a huge difference. So it's against this really positive background and future opportunity for all corners of the city that I think this Recreate competition is such a brilliant initiative, helping the city to fulfil its ambition, increasing growth and prosperity for all, being a great place to live and to work, and attracting more investment, both from within the city, but also increased inwards investment from across the wider UK and abroad too. Like so many other places in the UK, as mentioned earlier, Bradford has unused spaces that are just waiting to be better used, spaces which can help the next big thing to happen and contribute to the realisation of the city's potential. The development and use of these spaces is a key part of helping to underpin the continued growth and success of the city, being a great place to live, to learn, fulfil potential, to stay and enjoy a rewarding career, and also to help encourage others to come and invest and start new businesses here too. That's why I think this competition is so exciting. Posing the question, if you were given one of these unused spaces, what would you do with it? How could it be used to contribute to and to benefit society, the culture, the economy of Bradford? So as we heard, the university has identified 3 different unused spaces in the city. And through this competition, the opportunity is to create a plan of how one of these spaces can be used to help make the next big thing to happen. Your plan can be to use a space for any purpose. For example, you could create an idea to use a space for a business in one of the already strong sectors Bradford is known for, such as those I mentioned earlier. Or indeed for a newer, more nascent sectoral opportunity where great growth potential exists. Or indeed your plan could be to use a space for another idea, not relating to the creation of a new business, but still crucial to helping the city to continue to flourish and prosper. As such, your plan must give some consideration as to how your idea will contribute to the 4 key elements of culture, society, innovation, and sustainability. You see, the ability of a business, indeed the ability of a place in an economy to grow and to survive and thrive, also rests upon the health of the wider environment in which businesses and the economy operates. It rests upon things like the ability for people to grow and fulfill their potential, an environment which provides opportunity and the inspiration to be innovative, a vibrant culture, an eye to the future and the need for sustainability, and a society which is confident, proud and aspirant, creating growth for the benefit of everyone in the community. I'm really excited to see what ideas and plans are submitted through this competition, and I'm delighted to be on the judging panel as well, viewing the plans submitted and to see the winning plans put into action, which will help realise the full potential of this great and vibrant city, full of amazing people, talent and ambition, with such a rich and proud culture. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Will. I feel really energized by that. That was a really brilliant picture you've painted for us. So up next, it's my pleasure to introduce my wonderful colleague, Richard Shaw, Director at Bradford 2025, and Nicola Greenan, Head of Cultural Partnerships at Bradford Council. And they're going to be talking to us a little bit about culture.
So I'm afraid it's just me because sadly Nicola has been called away urgently, so I hope we'll put up with me in my kitchen this section. I wanted to do a couple of things to tell you a little bit about the bid and how this project fits into the bid, and also just to give you a kind of personal reflection as somebody who's a newcomer to the city. I've been here only very briefly. I've been in lockdown more than I've been out of lockdown, really. So the opportunities that I've had to be in the city have been limited, although there have been times when I've been able to get out and see the city. And this project dovetails incredibly closely with the ambitions of the bid. In terms of the bid itself, Bradford City of Culture bid for 2025 is a regeneration and a development project. It's not an award for kind of great cultural achievement. It is a springboard. It is a piece of rocket fuel that the city can take advantage of if we were to win it. Our bid will go into government towards the end of this year, and then there'll be a shortlisting process, and then the final announcement will be made in May 2022 as to which of the competing cities will take the next title, which will be in 2025. Our competition comes from a large variety of cities across the UK, including Gloucester and Southampton and Medway and Lancashire and Tees Valley and so on. But the reason why I chose to come and live in Bradford is that when I came to visit it to talk to the people who were recruiting for the post that I now occupy, what I saw all around me was opportunity. I saw opportunity in skills and talent development. I saw opportunity in terms of developing our visitor economy. I saw opportunity in terms of growing our cultural assets. And I saw opportunity in the fabric of the district. And if we're going to win 2025, the competition for 2025, then we are going to write our story in Bradford around an opportunity narrative. We are not going to be writing around a deprivation narrative or a social need narrative, all of which are also true. This is a narrative around the opportunity that's presented to a district that has so often been left behind. In terms of this project, this Recreate project, you won't be surprised to hear that the word recreate will feature heavily in our bid. And that comes as a consequence of people telling us how much they value the built environment that they see every day that is currently unexploited. A personal reflection here is that the very first night I came to Bradford, I was dropped off by somebody at the 24-hour Tesco. And I went in to buy some essential things, which I didn't have because it was my first day here. And I walked home past a building that I now know to be the conditioning house in Midland Mills. And I looked at them and I thought, I saw the development that was going on in the conditioning house, some very impressive regeneration. And then I looked at the building next door, which is the sort of blown out Midland Mills. And it was 12 o'clock at night and I looked at it. And although what I saw was a crumbling ruin with the windows blown out and no ceiling and in very poor state, I looked at it and I thought, what a humongous opportunity that building, along with many others, presented for Bradford 2025. In many ways, not just as a canvas to potentially draw attention to the buildings that were built for a different purpose and a different age, and to bring them into current use, but also as a potential statement of intent for a rebirth of use of these buildings as cultural purposes. Bradford has a huge need for studio space for artists, for build space for people who want to create large things that we can bring out and show people as artistic interventions that will make a large statement that will read across the UK, and as a cornerstone of a campaign for the bid, which seeks to bring back those buildings into contemporary use. And I would urge people who are going to enter this competition to think about the potential for creative reuse of these buildings. Everything that Will said just before is absolutely right. They need to fulfill some sustainability aspirations, commercial aspirations, quality of life aspirations. But if I had a priority, it would be to fulfill some of the cultural and creative and artistic opportunities that this district is so rich in. We are wholly behind this project. We will be representing this project in the bid. And I wish you the very best of luck if you're planning to enter the competition. And thank you for letting 2025 be a part of it. That's my piece.
Thank you, Richard. I'm really privileged to be part of the team at the university working with Bradford 2025 on the bid, and every time I attend a meeting about it and working with Pakiza, it just fills me with so much excitement. So I know that we're all backing you, and it's great to have it as a feature in this competition. The next key element that we're going to look at is about sustainability. Professor Amir Sharif and Professor P.B. Anand from the University of Bradford are going to present that for us.
Thanks very much, and thank you, colleagues, and welcome everybody to this session. Many thanks to both Will and Richard there, and I think that gives a very nice context to the opportunity that we can see in Bradford. And it's, again, a bit like Richard, I've only been in Bradford myself for a few years, but again, we see such great potential here. So let's start talking about one of the key aspects of this competition, which is around sustainability. And I've got my colleague, Professor P.B. Anand here, and we'll sort of do a double act on this. We're from the Faculty of Management, Law and Social Sciences, but that doesn't mean anything more than we're part of the university, and we look at lots of social and business and indeed legal aspects of how the world operates, and indeed how Bradford operates. So if we could just jump to the next slide, and we'll start going through some of the things, please. So these are some of the key elements we think might be in a sustainability theme to recreating a part of Bradford. And I'm going to hand over now to Anand to take us through the first one, and then we'll jump back and forth. Anand, over to you.
Thank you, Amir. And well, I have been in Bradford for more than 23 years now, so at least that gives me a context. It's a city and the university I'm very passionate about. So obviously, in thinking about sustainability as one of the key elements in looking at the proposals for these 3 unused spaces, one of the important things that we think it should address is that there should be demonstration of creative and innovative ways of embedding sustainability. Of course, we all know that there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and it's very easy to claim that you will be addressing all of them. And also, we know that some organizations have taken sustainability very seriously, but we also see in the world that there are some organizations which don't change their core way of doing things, but do some sprinkling of sustainability, like a bolt-on or just a superficial way. So that kind of sustainability washing is not what is expected, but something where sustainability is right at the core of the proposal and how you are thinking about it in terms of creative and innovative ways. So that's, I think, is number 1 criterion that we think the proposal should address. Amir, do you want to take through the second one, and then we can alternate?
Thank you. Yeah, we'll do this double act. We'll see how it goes. So linked to that very closely is this idea of behavior, and you may have heard this many times from people involved in sustainability. The other thing that we look at is circular economy, which we'll come to as well. So contribution to behavior change is really important, because without that, we really can't get many of these things into play and into action. So what are the actions? What are the engagements? And what's the level of impact? We'd like people to think really practically as well. So, okay, we might well be professors or talking from a university, but we actually do a lot of work with communities, with businesses, with organizations, NGOs. And the one thing that always comes through, and you've heard it from Richard and from Will as well, is action and impact and making sure something happens. But key to that is, if we do something positive, let's make sure that we don't have an unintended consequence. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to, I don't know, create some sort of a deposit return scheme in the city, or some way to reuse I don't know, coffee cups or whatever it might be, does that mean that it will increase your number of carbon miles because you're traveling by car a lot more to reuse and refill your so-called sustainable coffee cup? So let's not create unintended consequences, but let's create positive behavior change. So that's the second most important thing, behavior change. Back to you, Anand.
So the proposal has to demonstrate in terms of how it is embedding sustainability to the core, how it is contributing to behavioral change. The third one, of course, is directly related to this, and what novel opportunities for sustainability that it is aiming to create. So these novel opportunities can be in the form of new business models, for example, or new ways of engaging with community. Already Amir mentioned about behavioral change and the element of in terms of how unintended consequences must be avoided. So for that, engagement with community can be very important too. And also level and type of innovation. Is it only a technical kind of innovation? Is it a digital tool? Or is it, does it involve or develop some kind of new ways of tools and techniques for organizations, businesses, and NGOs, civil society institutions to use in their way of doing things, so that they can actually demonstrate their own commitment to sustainability. And it's a business model, so that means it has to be a win-win as well. So it's not about changing the way of doing things only because someone else is funding, but actually to make it sustainable. So both of those. So think of in terms of, the Tesla is a good example. So if that puts it challenges existing market by a new way of doing things, what is your proposal going to do in terms of how is it going to change in our context? Over to you, Amir.
Thanks, Anand. This seems to be going well, so let's continue. And for those of you just joining, we're just going through the one of the challenges in terms of sustainability, one of the themes around Recreate, which is sustainability, and we'll come on to a few more in a moment. But the other key thing about this is, let's not forget place. Let's not forget this is about Bradford. So anything that colleagues come up with, anything that you come up with, has to have an intrinsic value back to Bradford. Okay, it must have some value back to Bradford. Now, why Bradford? So what's the context? Who does it benefit? Why and how does it actually work? That's the very important thing about any proposal in this area. It has to have some intrinsic value and extrinsic as well. We need to be able to see it. It needs to be visible enough for all to see. And therefore, if we're talking about a sustainable type of idea or a proposal to reuse spaces, to reuse assets in the city, then can we use and apply some current thinking? Not quite science fiction, but can we use concepts like circular economy, the ideas of reuse, the ideas of upgrowth, some more of these ideas around extracting and reusing value, regenerating value, not just use once and throw away. How can we use some of these ideas? It doesn't have to be very clever, but it needs to be practical, but also needs to have impact. So think about the value as well, because we want to make sure that anything that we do in this world has some value, either for current or future generations. And just the last one now, back to you, Anand. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Amir. So, of course, these 4 dimensions are very important. The 5th one is what can we learn from your initiative in terms of how do we evaluate its success? Of course, we are all very good at coming up with brilliant new ideas, but how do we know that it is a success? So how do we evaluate your proposal success? And is it feasible? This is not something just to come up with some wild dreams which are not feasible, but something that is rooted in reality. But also, more importantly, how this can grow, and so that others also can replicate. So how this can be scaled, not just as a single initiative, but from this what we can learn and how we can scale it up, and other cities perhaps can follow what is happening in Bradford. So those are the kind of criteria I think your proposal should demonstrate in relation to the element of sustainability. I think that's it from the two of us. I think we hand it back to you, Hannah.
Thanks, Anand. Thanks, Hannah. Over to you.
Wow, thanks so much, guys. Absolutely seamless double act. I feel like that was a really helpful breakdown on sustainability. I'm going to go away and think about that, I think. So moving on now from sustainability to entrepreneurship, I'd like to introduce Professor Sankar Sivaraja and Professor Paul Thorning from the University of Bradford.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for taking the time out this afternoon to join us on the Recreate Festival, part of the launching event for the competition. And Will, Richard, of course, and we have Professor Amir and Anand also mentioned a little bit. Our focus here now is going to be with Professor Paul, really on entrepreneurship and the theme of what we're expecting in terms of the Recreate under the big umbrella of reusing the space. So on the next slide, I really want to emphasize on some of the things that we want to focus and capture it. Listen, I think Bradford, we all know, is a city of business. I'm not going to sort of practice and preach some of the textbook things that we talk about, but it has a very powerful culture of entrepreneurship. So it's to really embed sort of the business minds of how that can be applied towards real estate, the built environment, and really reflecting on the ethos of the place, which I mean did really sort of capture on being a diverse and young city and looking at the startup ecosystem, but not forgetting the theme about rethinking, recreating, and rebuilding. I think those are the three sort of aspects that we won't focus on under the big sort of the beauty of the culture of the industrial city and the space that the Bradford city as a whole has to create. So our real take on this would be on the next slide, which we won't capture, is on the place. I think the next slide really does capture this. And I think the place, the program, the partnerships. So working towards the whole theme around responsible business, we really want to think about what this business proposal that you might come up with, alternative ways of thinking, like we've just suggested, circular economy, what's the real value add for the city? Really focus on some of the creative ideas. So don't think about the alternative models that you can really reflect on. The current pandemic situation has really had all of us to reflect on our own practices, be it a physical and a digital hybrid space. So think about the new things that the post-pandemic world might look at, but in the whole broader umbrella of recreating and reusing empty spaces. How can we reinvigorate those spaces in the values of Bradford as a city? So the place to really have that, nurture those ideas that come up with. And don't forget, you also have partnerships. And like we said, the community of small businesses or local communities, if you can work together and not have a silo thinking of one idea, if you can really build that together in an ecosystem where you can work together to build that idea that you have for the Recreate competition, I think that's what we really want to sort of empower you all to think about, how those unused spaces of Bradford City can be rethought about. And Paul, do you want to jump on and add a little bit more on the innovation aspect of the things that we really want candidates to really think about in terms of Recreate?
Thank you, Sankar. Yeah, I mean, for me, innovation is always going to be an open process. It's all about not only the talent that we've got in the city, but attracting talent to our great city, bringing people in from overseas. We have a program in Bradford that enables us to endorse entrepreneurs, startup visas. So it's thinking about Bradford's role in a global innovation community and how we can attract talent to this amazing city. In terms of a design of space, try to think about all the things that you needed as an entrepreneur, or perhaps some of the things that are stopping you being an entrepreneur. Maybe it's about access to physical resources, access to support. You don't need an idea to be an entrepreneur. A lot of people think you do, but you don't. You can work with somebody else's ideas. So how can we create a space which enables exchange of ideas? How can we help people to overcome that fear of failure? How can we create a supportive space where you bump into people and those people actually, on the day that you're struggling, saying, you know what, actually, the dawn's just after the darkest part of the night, and it's all about creating a space which empowers people to create value. And the other thing is, I think we should be proud of this city and the opportunities in this city. We're bringing in a young entrepreneur from Sri Lanka, and her business is all around spices and bespoke spices. And family traditions and family secrets are handed down from generation to generation that will be preserved forever through what she does. So she's coming from Sri Lanka to bring something to our city, which I hope she'll find a fantastic market here. So, design space for the city and its needs. And remember that this city is at the center of the world as far as we're concerned. And let's bring in that talent and create that collaboration beyond our city boundaries to the world at large.
Brilliant, Paul. And okay, so I think that's our message, I think, for people entering this competition, really to rethink, recreate and rebuild, and look at the space as an innovation, be risk-taking, but looking at how you can give back to the city. And I think the value creation is fundamentally important. So that is all what we can say as from an entrepreneurial innovation. So be bold, really recreate that spaces that the Bradford cities really do have to. So thank you everyone for listening to us.
Thank you, Paul and Sankar. A lot to think about there. And I think you gave us a great introduction for the next session, the next element as well, which looks at how your business idea can give back to the city and the impact it will have on society. And to tell us more about this key element is Frances Northrop.
Hi, nice to see everybody. So I'm Frances Northrop. I work at the New Economics Foundation, where I lead our local economies work. And I get to work with lots of different entrepreneurs, people starting community and social and small businesses across the UK. But I'm from Bradford, so I am really, really proud to be part of this and an honour to be a judge on the programme. So I think what I just wanted to do was I had some slides that I shared. I think that I could just skip through. Thank you. So this is the experience that I've had of working with small businesses. And I know from my experience of working in Bradford, in Manningham at the moment and in the city centre, that this stuff is happening all the time. And there's a huge network of people to kind of support, as Sankar was just saying. So I just wanted to talk through the culture, society, innovation, sustainability elements of small business and how much that kind of is evidenced in giving back into local places. So next slide, please. So I think increasingly, definitely post or kind of, COVID, emerging out of COVID, these small businesses are really being seen as part of a social infrastructure, not just as part of commerce, but really an embedded part of our communities, and increasingly being referred to as third places. So not big businesses that people work in or our homes, but the places where we interact together, where we get our social interaction and bring all these multiple recognised benefits that are of growing importance. And access to these spaces has reduced over the last 10 years. There's been sort of more and more businesses being shuttered up, and I think now is a real time to push for those to be reopened and repurposed, and for those to sit at the heart of any sort of city's regeneration led by local people. Next one. So small businesses and enterprises and initiatives, they can provide affordable goods and services for people. They create these spaces of interaction and they respond to local needs. So the idea that you're in one place and people are traveling through your shop or your space means that you can kind of get a sense for what people need, so you can change and be more kind of adaptive in response to that, and keep building your product and your offer. And also small businesses are much more likely to be involved in the local community, so supporting charities, other initiatives that are going on. So you're creating a community around yourself. Next one. And obviously, businesses are often owned, and when I say owned, they're not always necessarily owned by one person. Like it can be a range of people, with a cooperative or a social enterprise, but kind of there's an ownership of them with people who are instinctively collaborative and entrepreneurial, and the two feed the other. So you're part of a sort of team of people working together. They often offer opportunities for young people to undertake training, apprenticeships. So you're getting all that young energy and that knowledge inside your business, or you might be a young person who's thinking of starting one, which is great. Also, this opportunity to get involved in the wider business community, working together to create more business, so business networks, of which there are existing ones in Bradford, obviously. And then being able to respond dynamically to the market. So as I said, kind of people's needs, how you grow and evolve, and then maybe sort of start new businesses or inspire other people to start those businesses. Next one. And then finally, just to kind of talk a bit more about sustainability, which was covered so comprehensively before. I think really increasingly people's thoughtful business practice can see that actually maximising value through environmental means and social means also means that you're saving money, you're sort of investing back into your business, and also keeping your business infrastructure and fabric of the building and things energy efficient is a good way of kind of keeping money within the business and being able to invest in different elements of it. Also tend to have short supply chains, so even if that's not for goods, then that might be for professional building services. So there's a real kind of range of people working together, local accountants, plumbers, all that kind of stuff. So you're kind of creating this mutual benefit sort of society. And then obviously part of the circular economy. So the idea that they might be exchanging packaging, other business waste, like one person's business waste is another person's product. So there's all this kind of mutual benefit that can happen as part of this. And was there another slide? No, but I did have a really lovely slide that I think I sent through too late of all the existing businesses that exist in the city centre. And there's some incredible things happening, really, really creative. I'm sure you all know about many of them. But I think just to say that it's not the idea that you're just standing alone with this. I think other panelists have said this, that there already is this incredible network of support and that you're joining a family of businesses. And so, there's lots and lots of opportunity there. Thank you.
Thank you, Frances. I think what's been really good about all the presentations is that we've seen the key elements feature across each of them, haven't we? And so it's really nice to see how they complement each other. I'm going to run you through some key points that you'll need to know if you want to enter the competition. While I am doing this, please feel free to submit any questions that you have for our speakers today on any of the key elements, and we'll try and fit in as many as we have time for. So the key things that you will need to know if you want to enter the competition is you can do your business plan individually, or you can create a team of up to 3 people. To submit your business plan, there's a template on the UNIfy website, and I believe one of my colleagues will share the link to the website on the chat. It's a simple business plan format, but please do have a look at it. There's some key dates for your diary that you'll need to keep in mind. So starting next week, there'll be a mentoring session added to the website each week. And our lovely speakers and panelists today are each going to give you more information and more details about the key element and how you can incorporate this into your business plan. The deadline for submitting your business plans is Friday, the 28th of May. We will keep reminding you of this on social media and on the website, but do put it in your diary. We don't want you to miss out. And then on Friday, the 11th of June, the winner will be announced. There will be 2 winners. there's a category for University of Bradford students, and there's a category for everybody else in the general public to enter. So we will have 2 winners, and they will both be announced on Friday, the 11th of June. The winning submissions will receive a prize. They'll receive £100 in shopping vouchers, and they will have the opportunity to tell other businesses and the community, the city, about their winning idea. And more details about this will be confirmed when the winning submissions are announced. And also, the terms and conditions for the competition are also available on the website link that's been provided. So please do take a look. We can't wait to hear your ideas. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I actually want to enter, but I don't think the terms and conditions
You're not allowed.
let me know. I don't think I'm allowed. But I'm really excited to see what everybody else brings through.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think mine would win either. I don't think, listening to those elements, I don't think mine would win. So I don't think I'll bother. But yeah, I'm not allowed, but I'm really, really excited to see everybody else's submissions.
Yeah, we can't wait. We've got some time for questions, haven't we? I think we've got about 15 minutes, so if we could just get those questions up.
Just bear with us a minute. We're just waiting for them to be made bigger on the screen so that we can read them. They're a bit far away.
Okay, so let's start with the first question. If you make an application, can you be creative and do the applications via video or other ways to make it accessible rather than having to write a bid?
Yes, is the simple answer to that. We would like you to complete the template. I do promise you it's really simple to complete, but if you would also like to accompany your business plan with a video, please feel free to email events@bradford.ac.uk, and we will take submissions in that way as well, as long as it's before the deadline.
And I think if people do need support in the application process, they can be in touch, can't they? And
definitely
just work through that with us together.
And I think, you know, as the speakers and the panelists have said today, there's a lot of partnerships in the city. It's really exciting having so many partners involved in this competition. So there is support available. So if you did need support, or if you have questions about any of the key elements, please do get in touch, and we'll be able to point you in the right direction for that support as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, question number 2. What steps are being taken to learn from already successful activities and not reinventing the wheel, in caps, avoiding duplication of effort and resources? That is a very good question.
It's a really good question. I did see that Amir responded to this in the chat. So I wonder if we want to hand over to Amir to answer. Is that okay?
That's fine. Thanks, Hannah and Pakiza. And actually, it was only because I get a chance to speak to Manoj, who's a great fellow Bradfordian, and he does so much for the community here as well. So welcome, Manoj. That's a good question. I think the answer is simple. Surprise, surprise. That's odd coming from a professor. I think this is a great opportunity for anybody to write a proposal to, guess what, reuse and revisit those opportunities and maybe discarded ideas from the past. Now, there's a caveat to that, and that caveat is whatever you do, it has to be better than what was done before. And it actually has to there has to be action from it. That's just a personal view. It's not a University of Bradford view, whatever. It's a very personal, mere view of the world. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think there's been lots of activities and some false starts as well. No matter, we should avoid reinventing the wheel. Sometimes though, you do need to have a better wheel than before. So I think everything is on the table. There's been lots of history in Bradford. I know I'm not going to recount all of that. There's no need to do that. But what we need to do is we do need to look forward, and we actually do need to act. This is about action. Again, I keep on using that word. So great. Please do so. Do revisit some ideas. But I think it's also about, we heard it in a couple of other colleagues, in every colleague's words, actually, in different ways. It's about partnership. So if it's going to be successful, there needs to be some action. I think there needs to be some partnership. You can certainly reuse, you can certainly revive, but I would certainly suggest try and find partners who can actually deliver. That's the key thing. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
Can I just add just one sentence to add?
Yes, of course.
Anand here. Yeah. So I think, as Amir emphasized, also learning from past failures is also a part of the process. So when we are looking for innovations or sustainability, etc. So if there have been some things which were tried before, they didn't work, and we want to repurpose and try in a different way, I think that should be very much something that should be welcome. So learning from both successes as well as failures of the past, I would say.
Thank you. So the next question is, it's a good one. They're all good ones, aren't they? Is the competition only available to those who want to do business, or can charities apply to secure a building?
So just to make it clear that the unused spaces that we're suggesting as part of this competition are just they're just illustrative purposes, really. So I don't know if we've said what the unused spaces are. So we're asking people to think about an unused retail unit in the city centre, a unit that's in one of the mills in Bradford, or a pub in a community that's no longer being used as a pub, and what you could use that for in that community. Yeah. So although we're giving you 3 unused spaces, that just for you to have a think of different spaces and the different ways that you could use them. They're not real buildings that are available to purchase. Although if you win, and it is something that you want to explore further about actually setting the business up and seeing where it can go, we will do our best to connect you to the right people in the city that can help you move forward with that.
Yeah, cool. And I think on the business v charity question, personally, I feel like if an application ticks each key element, whether it's profit making or not, they should apply, and feel free to apply. So, definitely. You know, don't feel like you're unable to for that reason. Okay, and the next question we've got is, do the winning entries get put forward for funding, or is funding already in place? I might have missed that at the start. Can you clarify?
So again, as I mentioned, the prize for this competition is £100 of shopping vouchers, and then we will be giving you the opportunity to present your competition, your winning idea, to a business community in the city. We haven't put forward whether people need to take this forward, as we think that should be a personal decision. Yeah. So if you do put forward the winning submission and you want to see about making it a real business, as I said before, we will put you in touch with people in the city that can support you with that.
I think right now it's full of possibilities, isn't it?
Definitely.
We're at the idea stage, and we're just really excited about what comes back to us. And then, you know, everything is open after that point, right?
Definitely.
So next question, will PwC or others be putting substantial, and then I've got some pound signs, into the winning application? So I feel as though we've sort of just answered that question, haven't we?
Yeah. I think, again, the idea behind the competition is just to get your creativity and ideas in the city going. And again, if the winning submission, the person who puts that forward would like to explore the potential to take that business idea and see if we can make it a reality, we will put you in touch with the right people that can help you do that.
Cool. So final question, unless anyone's got any last minute ones. Does that rule out unused spaces that have no building on them?
Ooh, so we've given 3 examples. What do we think?
I think it does. I think this is a competition that is centered on the built environment, and that's where we're starting. That's a starting point for us.
It would be quite a big ask as well to ask people to think about building a structure and what that would look like. So yeah, I think you're right. I think we're looking at spaces in the city that are currently unused but have massive potential, and massive potential to include all those key elements that we've been through. So if you can, please keep it to one of the 3 elements. Can you apply more than once?
Well,
you'll have to read the terms and conditions. I don't think you can. I think it's 1 entry per person. But all these details are included on the terms and conditions, which can be found on the website, which was shared earlier on the chat, and I'm sure we can share that again.
Cool. I think that's it for questions, unless anyone has any. We've got one just come in. How can schools get involved or engaged, and places of worship?
So I think places of worship would be similar to charities. So the business idea doesn't have to be a profit-making business idea, but if it was to be made a reality, the business structure, the business model would have to be looked at. In terms of schools, the person submitting the idea does need to be over 18. So it would be great to have ideas from all ages in the city, and if you are a teacher and you want to submit an idea on behalf of your school, we'd definitely look at that.
I think any person or group of people coming from, the context that they come from should feel free to apply for this for sure. So yeah.
It is about ideas and possibilities. So although there is the potential for the winning submission to become a real business, we don't want people that don't want to make it a real business to be put off either. We just want to hear creativity, and we just want to see people's vision for the city and what they would like to see happen, really. So as we said, I'd love to apply. I'd love to put a submission in, but I'm not allowed. I know that's definitely on the terms and conditions.
But yeah, if you have got a big idea, then submit it. We want to hear what you think and what you want to do in Bradford. And yeah, we're really excited to see what comes to us.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
And if you do have any more questions, or if you want more information, do go to the UNIfy website or do email events@bradford.ac.uk. So we've answered all the questions, we've launched a competition, and that's all about we have time for now this afternoon. So before we leave, I just want to say thank you to all our panelists. Thank you for your brilliant presentations and for introducing the key elements for us. And I want to thank Will Richardson from PwC for launching the competition for us as well. And thank you to everybody that's joined us this afternoon and watched with us. We are really excited to see your submissions, and we hope that this afternoon has made you feel inspired to put in a submission. Please join us online this evening for our next event, Zero Waste Bradford, which starts at 5 p.m. and it might give you some ideas on your sustainability element. You never know.
Good link.
And don't forget to visit the UNIfy website to see our full schedule of events for the rest of the week at bradford.ac.uk/UNIfy. And from all of us at the university, goodbye.
Bye.